Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona and welcome to this edition of DRF Best Bets, where DRF handicappers give their best value plays for the upcoming weekend. On this episode we have analysis coming from Brad Free, Mike Beer, and myself, but we're going to get to my opinion at the end of the show. Let's start by heading across the country to see who Brad likes this weekend.
Thanks, David. The 10th and final race on Saturday at Los Alamitos offers, I believe, an attractive wagering opportunity. It's a 5.5 furlong sprint. Calbred, maiden claiming fillies and mares, and the first thing we need to do is recognize the favorite. She's not much. Her name is Supersonic Flyer, number 7, a 9-start maiden, 7 tries at the maiden 50 level, in the money all 7 of those tries. She also lost all 7. She gives it up late. Supersonic Flyer is the type of vulnerable program favorite anyway that I think a good bettor should wager against. There's a filly in here who hasn't started in about a year. Her name is Coco's Joy. She actually made the Daily Racing Form Horses to Watch list for her mid-pack debut in November of last year. And just to recite from the description in the Horses to Watch category, it was this: Coco's Joy may have more speed than evident, can improve versus Calbred Dirt Maidens. Well, she didn't. She showed up in her second start against Calbred Dirt Maidens at Los Alamitos, but something went awry. She threw a fit inside the starting gate. She was taken out, she was reloaded, and she completely misfired, and then she disappeared. Well, now she's back, and she's dropping in class for trainer Eric Kruljack. And that move, comeback maiden claimers, dropping from maiden special weight, is kind of a hidden angle. In fact, the last 3 Kruljack trained maiden claiming droppers off 6 months or more included 2 runner-up finishes at 6-1 and a 3rd place finish at odds of 66-1. Coco's Joy has more speed than she showed in either of her first 2 starts. She has a speed rider aboard in Edwin Maldonado. She is listed at 9-2 on the morning line. She might go a little bit shorter, but I'm looking for Coco's Joy to spring a mild upset in the 10th and final race on Saturday at Los Alamitos.
I'm going to go for a bit of a price with my best bet this week, and I'm going to try for the stakes race at Aqueduct on Saturday afternoon, the Garland of Roses stakes. I'm going to try to get the number 4, Just Read It, in there somewhere at 20-1 on the morning line. This is just the kind of race that's it's drawn a pretty competitive field, but all of the horses who feel like they're going to take money in here are just horses that I have not been a fan of over time. That, really goes for the number 2, Glass Ceiling, who's 6-5 on the morning line. I get it. This horse has really improved since Charlie Baker claimed this horse back in May. Her last 2 races, if she runs either one of those, they're going to make her very, very tough in here. I'm just not a fan of Glass Ceilings. I don't want a short price on this horse as she tries another stakes race here. So I wanted to, take a stand against horses like her, horses like Sadie Lady, who has a lot of wins and likes this Aqueduct main track, but tends to get really soft trips when she wins her races and when she's challenged. A horse who I'm just not afraid to bet against. I just don't think she's that good. So I'm going to try Just Read It in here. Very lightly raced 3-year-old filly. Got started over this track last winter. I thought she ran a lot better than it looks in her career debut when she finished 4th. Came right back to break her maiden very easily with a 78 buyer. Her next dirt start was right here. We'll show you the replay of the Cicada Stakes where she winds up winning again. It's a short field. They didn't go a fast pace, and she just sat right up close. But just very game. Puts away the 4-5 favorite in the stretch and then holds off a horse trying to rally up the inside at her through the stretch. I liked that performance from her. She came back. She missed a lot of time after that race and came back most recently on November 3rd at Churchill Downs. And I thought she ran a lot better than it looks off the layup. Only a 67 buyer finishing 3rd, but she didn't break sharply from the gate, was last early, down in behind horses up the backstretch, unable to improve. And when she got clear in the stretch, she finished gamely to get up for 3rd. She has to improve to beat this field, yeah, and she has to improve by a lot. But it's just not the kind of race where I like the shorter prices, and she's going to be a big price. And so I'll try to get Just Read It in there in the Garland of Roses on Saturday at Aqueduct. Let's see what David Aragona has for you.
My best bet this weekend comes at Oaklawn Park on Saturday in their 9th race. It is the feature race on that Saturday card, the Poinsettia Stakes, for the 3-year-olds going 1 mile and a 16th. The number 4 Superstock likely to attract plenty of support as he gets back to the site of his Grade 1 Arkansas Derby triumph from earlier in the spring, though I don't think this Steve Asmussen runner has really improved that much since he won the Arkansas Derby. He's been campaigned pretty conservatively over the summer, so he's a favorite that I would try to take a shot against. The number 3 Flash of Mischief also makes sense as he's just been an overachiever this year for Carl Broberg. He has a bit more tactical speed than Superstock. Both of these horses, I think, are contenders, but I want to go to the number 1 Last Samurai, who's going out for Dallas Stewart. This horse just seems to have really improved since he's returned to dirt late in his 3-year-old season. Let's take a look at his switch from turf to dirt 2 back when he ran a very good second in the Grade 3 Greenwood Cup at Parks, going a demanding 1.5-mile distance. He made a big move around the turn this day to challenge for the lead in upper stretch, briefly takes over at 23-1, but gets cut down at the wire by Magic Michael, a Jamie Ness runner. This horse, though, ran really well against some Parks horses who were posting some big buyers coming into and out of that Greenwood Cup, so I think that Last Samurai really ran a legitimate performance that day, and he came back next time out at Churchill Downs going 1.25 miles at an optional claimer, and I think ran better than it seems. He was just stuck in traffic from basically the quarter pole all the way to the wire. John Court just got him in a little bit of trouble coming to the top of the stretch and could never really ride this horse as he just couldn't get him into a clear path for the entirety of the stretch run at Churchill Downs last time. Still, with that trouble, he got a 92 buyer for that performance, finishing behind some good horses, including Huge Bigley, who came back to win his next start with a comparable speed figure at Churchill Downs just last week. So I think that Last Samurai's recent form is pretty legitimate, and he's coming into this race improving at the right time, facing off against some 3-year-olds that might have just hit a plateau since the summer. So I like Last Samurai, and I think we could get somewhere around that 5-1 morning line. So it's the number 1 Last Samurai for me in the Poinsettia Stakes at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. That's it for this edition of DRF Best Bets. Good luck if you're playing this weekend.